I'm excited. Matthew's in the studio, 23 past 9. Now, with the worst of COVID-19 behind us, hopefully, you're probably reorganising your not-for-profit organisations again. And here's where DCFM can help you. As a community radio station, we want to promote your activity, your fundraiser, your social sporting club, and your monthly meeting. In fact, any activity that's not for profit, and we'll let everybody know. We'll broadcast your message for free. Now, you can email us for your details or send us your flyer to admin@dcfm889.com.au or use our Facebook page, DCFM889. And if the technology is too hard, leave your message at our studios opposite Lord's Hospital. Tell us what you're doing and we will tell Dubbo all about it, free of charge. We're serving the Dubbo community. We are DCFM 88.9. Okay, here we go.
It's time now for the latest news on what's hot and what's not in the world of technology with Mathew Dickerson on Tech Talk. Here on DCFM 88.9.
Morning, Matthew. How are you?
I assumed you did put that song on for me because I'm so excited to be here, Richard. I'm excited to talk about technology every week, as you know.
I know you are. So I could see your face light up. It was amazing. Just before we go on to that, you've got this ad at the moment with this magic thing you put in your car, and it's already been tested out by someone, and they're wrapped it. It picks up the phone everywhere.
Yeah, it is quite incredible. And as you said, a friend of both of ours has got one in their car, and they travel around a fair bit. And what it does basically is it's got an antenna on the outside of the car. It picks up the signal better because it's got an antenna on the outside of the car. But then it boosts the signal by 100 dB and then retransmits that in a very small antenna inside the car. So you don't need to plug into a car kit like the old days to get that outside antenna. You can just have anyone in the car. You can have multiple people in the car using it. But that 100 dB boost, it's not just the antenna on the outside of the car. It's that 100 dB boost that makes all the difference. And I've been using one for probably a year in my car now. And what it does is those little black spots where it just drops out and you pick up again, you know you can drive straight through those and keep talking. And then when you get to the edge of reception, you still will eventually drop out, but you might get an extra 15 kilometres or thereabouts extended on that reception, which might then pick up the next town you're coming towards. So they are, as you say, it seems like a miracle worker. We have that feedback from clients sometimes that they say that I put it in and I can't believe I can talk all the way on that road now. It's quite incredible.
Well, it is. The person we're referring to is raving about it between somewhere in Tarumba. This morning, wherever he was, I don't know.
Yeah, he gets around a bit.
Tarumba. Now, I've got a coat that heats up in the wintertime and keeps me warm because you keep a battery in the pocket down here and you charge it up overnight, and it's a beautiful coat. You press the buttons here, all those sort of things. But you're talking about an air conditioned inside a shirt.
Well, it's actually a small unit, and you're quite right. From cycling, I know there's lots of bits of clothing you can buy that heat up, some thermal gear that you can actually have batteries plugged into and warm you up. But this device is probably about the size of a smartphone, in fact a little bit smaller than the size of a smartphone, and it drops into a pocket just between your shoulder blades. And if you've seen footy or cricket recently, you see those little pockets in the back there where they put GPS units in to track where players run around the field.
That's right,
It's similar to that, and it was actually ready to be released for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, but of course that's been postponed now. But Sony said they'd release the device anyway, and the idea is you put it in, it'll go for about 2 to 4 hours depending on whether you're heating or cooling, so it does both. It needs to be in contact with your skin, or it can have one thin layer of clothing between yourself and the skin itself, and that's designed to heat up or cool down your body. Now, I'm sure that in freezing cold mornings in Dubbo at the moment, if you went out in T-shirt and shorts and put one of these in, it's probably not going to keep you completely warm. But the idea is it's heating up an important part of your body, and there's a lot of blood flow going through that part of your body up towards your brain, obviously. For most people anyway. Some people not much blood flow to the brain, I'm sure.
I can think of one person in this town.
But for most people there's plenty of blood flow there. And so effectively it's designed to heat that spot or cool that spot and to keep the whole body heated or cooled. So much easier than putting on a whole coat or specific clothing. It can drop into a pocket on any clothing. You can sew one in, you can buy T-shirts with those pockets in there. Quite incredible. About $170, so not too expensive, but again, not quite available in Australia yet. They've released it at this stage in Japan, and it'll start to flow out across the world.
Well, you'll let us know when they're here.
Well, I'm going to get one. I've actually checked on Amazon already, and they won't ship to Australia yet, but I'll keep an eye on that.
Well, keep an eye, let me know, because I want one for the summer.
Yeah.
Oh,
great idea.
Be really good. Okay, now, can this one really work? Noise cancelling windows that halve the traffic noise and while the window's open. Come on.
Well, we are familiar,
how does it work?
Of course, with noise cancelling headphones. But with a headphone, you've got a very enclosed space to try and cancel that noise in. And the way they work is they'll listen out for a constant noise, a constant sine wave, and then they'll put out a sine wave that's the opposing sine wave, the peaks become troughs, etc., to cancel that noise. But when you've got a whole apartment, you've got a busy highway outside, it's a bit harder. What researchers are doing at the moment is across a wire grid, a security grid if you like, across the window, they're mounting small speakers, about 4.5 centimetres in size, they're mounting on those parts. So you can still see out the window, 4.5 centimetres doesn't block much of your view, and it does exactly the same as a noise cancelling set of headphones does, where it listens out for certain frequencies and then puts out a sine wave to block that so that the sound doesn't come through the window. Now the only problem researchers are having at the moment is traffic noise is typically around 200 hertz to 1,000 hertz. The speakers being that small are only able to block about 300 hertz to 1,000 hertz. So that very low, probably truck noise is probably still coming through.
Harleys?
Harleys, exactly right. The problem is if I want to try and block that very low frequency sound, they've got to use much larger speakers, and so that becomes a bit more of an issue. But again, quite incredible. In summer, you want to open the window, a bit of fresh air coming into your apartment, but oh no, it's so noisy. Put these on and they say it will approximately halve the noise. Now, it's still experimental at this stage, but it's great to see some of that research going on to make it a bit more comfortable for people to live in the city, or if they're really smart, they'll move to somewhere regional where it's much easier to live anyway and not as much noise.
And you save money by not having to buy the speakers and living in Dubbo. The newest bullet train between Tokyo and Osaka is now battery powered as a backup.
As a backup, yeah.
I mean, you've been on those trains. I've been on those trains. How can a battery drive a train that large? Obviously, it won't be able to drive it at top speed.
Correct.
But how does it manage to drive the train anyway?
Well, it does, and you're spot on there. The secret here is that it doesn't go at top speed. So the current Shinkansen trains, the N700s, will go at about 322 kilometres an hour, and you're right, you and I have both been on those. The new model, the N700S, will go at 360 kilometres an hour, and that's the one that's got the battery backup. Now, in the past, they've actually had a battery backup because they use overhead power lines. If something happens in Japan, like a tsunami or an earthquake or things that happen almost on a semi-regular basis,
floods lately,
exactly right. Then what you've got, the situation is that the emergency services on the train will still work, so there'll still be lighting, but it could be stuck wherever it loses power. So that could be in a tunnel, could be on a bridge. Imagine trying to evacuate people when it's on a bridge, for example. So the new ones have got a battery backup so that it can still drive, again, at a slower speed and not for hundreds of kilometres. It can probably go for 10 kilometres, so it can get it to somewhere safe to allow people to evacuate until power's restored. But again, it's just that progression. We're getting better and better batteries all the time and better ways to propel devices with batteries. Because of course, we're used to trains being electric forever, but obviously they've got power overhead, whereas electric cars haven't got that ability to hook into power overhead. But we've been using electric motors. We've got a lot of experience with electric motors. It's just how you get that power to the electric motor.
How you use them, yeah, indeed. And of course, diesel electric locomotives are going to become a thing of the past, except in New South Wales where we don't have fast trains.
That's right, yeah. And look, I think the thing is that diesel electric, a classic example, they're electric trains. They're just burning diesel to get them there. But you know, when we've been on Shinkansens, it's what blew me away one time when we were over there with the kids, and we said, we'll just duck down to this place, and we looked at the train timetable. We're going to duck down to a place for lunch. And it was only when I got on the train that I realised where we're going to duck over for lunch was about 350 kilometres away. And you don't think about those distances because you get there so quick. Again, imagine a fast train from Dubbo to Sydney where we just duck down to Sydney in a bit over an hour and have lunch with someone and duck back home on a train.
Wouldn't it be magnificent?
Fantastic.
I remember being on one of them and I said to the guard, when do we pass Mount Fuji? He said 11:16. And I thought, righto. So I lined up at 11:14, and you're right, at 11:16 we passed Mount Fuji. It was in fog.
Look, drivers have been known to resign their job if they arrive into a station 1 minute late.
Yeah, I know.
They're very punctual, but again, they've got that speed at their disposal. If they need to make up a little bit of speed, they can, because they don't go flat out the whole time.
No, they can gun it.
That's right. I'm not sure if that's their technical term, but yeah.
Just gun the train. Right. Now, what's this 3D made-to-measure carbon fibre e-bike?
Well, it's incredible when you go and get a new expensive bike. You go in and you get fitted and they measure your legs and they see how much you can stretch, and then they pick one of the standard models. And I bought several bikes from local bike dealers here, and you spend the time to get all measured up, and they pick the right bike and they get the seat height right and they measure the stem, and that's fantastic. But they've gone a step further than that now. A new range of bikes is coming out where they do all the same measurement process and then they just print the bike. They 3D print the bike with carbon fibre to suit your specific size. So forget about fitting with seat heights and stems. The bike's already printed to your size.
That's staggering. That is staggering.
Quite incredible. The great part about carbon fibre, and I remember being at a bike conference years ago, the designer, one of the designers who was presenting there said that back in the old days when they had aluminium or steel or titanium, they had to rely on the double triangle design because there wasn't enough strength in the materials to get the strength in the bike. And they said when carbon fibre came along, they threw out all traditional designs for a bike because they had this incredibly strong and lightweight material. Now this particular bike looks very strange. And obviously we're on radio, we can't show it here, but it's basically a normal double triangle design without the middle brace. So it looks like it's going to collapse as soon as you sit on the bike. But again, built from carbon fibre, incredibly strong. Yeah. Very lightweight, about 3 pounds, the actual frame weighs. It's an American firm, so quoting the old Imperial there. But essentially, you've got something that's a very light, very strong bike, customised to you. They make 2 models. One's an e-bike, one's a normal bike. The e-bike, you can't even see the battery. It's built into the frame when it's actually built. Obviously, you can replace that battery as well. But e-bikes, I think, are going to be more and more common as people work out other ways to commute to work, and it's a great way to commute to work.
Yeah, incredible stuff. I really like that story. Yeah. Finally, at 25 to 10 with Tech Talk, Mathew Dickerson, Hong Kong and the Great Firewall. What is happening? I mean, I'm desperately upset about Hong Kong. I've been there many, many times, a lot of the time just transferring to get to London and those sorts of things, but lately been there for a couple of holidays and transferring to get into Shanghai and places like that. I'm really disappointed about Hong Kong, but you have got a story at the moment where there's a bit of a dilemma between, say, Google, Facebook and those people wanting to do the right thing but buy Hong Kong but not upset mainland China because they want the business.
And that's exactly right. And this is the problem we have. And this is the problem with filtering. This is the problem with not a free and open democracy. I suppose it's more a political comment than it is a technology comment. But you're quite right. When you've got Hong Kong starting to come under the umbrella of the Chinese firewall, and if you can remember many years ago, there was some discussion in Australia about internet filtering. And of course, the big issue is what should be filtered and what shouldn't be filtered. What you might think is offensive and should be filtered, I might think is okay and it should be part of freedom of speech. Whereas in China, they don't have that discussion. The Chinese government decides what will be allowed and what will not be allowed. And then, of course, if you try and do something outside that, the Chinese government may well arrest you and you may never be seen again. It's a whole process that we're very familiar with. But the big tech companies are very mindful of the fact that they want their products being able to be used freely and openly in Hong Kong. But you're right, so much manufacturing occurs in China for some of those products. So if you're an Apple, you don't want to risk the whole manufacturing process being interrupted because you're doing something in Hong Kong. So effectively, the firewall that's in place around China, which blocks so many different sites and so many news sites across the world, that's starting to creep across into Hong Kong as well.
Yeah, that firewall angered you when we were in China together. I remember that.
Well, the biggest problem with the firewall is obviously stopping you going to normal sites. But the second part is that it slows you down incredibly. Yeah. And one of the things I found with internet in places even like Dubai, it's very difficult to get onto the internet and use it, even just for sites that are allowed, because everything's being filtered. But I had a very funny story when I was in Dubai. Once I went and visited a friend of mine over there, and he was trying to put in his fantasy football tips. And of course, fantasy had some connotations, so that site was blocked. So he couldn't put in his fantasy football tips. So he had to end up ringing friends back in Australia to do it. I showed him how he could use a VPN. Of course, I washed my hands of it and said I was never here. But here's a VPN, a way you can get through the firewall. But essentially, they're the sort of things that are trapped. So what's wrong with the fantasy football? Absolutely nothing. But it might have some other sites that the government doesn't want you to see.
Matt, always good talking to you. We'll see you next Wednesday morning for some more Tech Talk here on DCFM 88.9. I hope you've absorbed all that, folks. Always interesting stuff. We'll catch up with Mathew next Wednesday morning. Right now, though, here's Michael Bolton. And how can we be lovers?